You did the first thing. You made it here on time. That's great. Woo! Most of us traveled very far. Yeah, maybe I win for traveling the farthest, but we all traveled far and we are here for a week to work together, to have fun, to learn a lot about ourselves and hopefully about each other.
From this project, I expect that I will learn something new about the Second War and the new way of understanding history, because there are so many countries and everyone is seeing it in different way. Yes, and I want to know how German see it, how Hungarians see it. It's very interesting to know each other better and better.
Well, I expect this to get to know myself a little bit better and to get closer to who I am through cooperating with other people from other nationalities and to get to know their way of thinking.
And my job is to lead us all towards a performance. What does that look like? I don't know. Does anybody in this room know? I don't think so, right? We will find it together, and we have artists who are here to help, and your teachers are here to help. And we have this history as the backdrop, okay? So I want to go around the circle, and each person will say their name, their age, where they come from, and one thing that you hope to learn this week.
Well, my name is Adam. I'm from Poland. I'm 17, and I'd like to see if I can cooperate with people.
I am Bruder from Germany, and I'm 17 years old, and I want to learn how the people from different countries think about this whole theme.
Hi, my name is Sarah, and I'm from Slovakia. I'm 17 years old, and I want to learn something about history and other countries.
Hello, I'm Brigi. I'm from Hungary and I'm 17 years old. The motivation I think I came for is to get to know myself a bit better through history and art.
The main goal and maybe the main idea of this project is to connect history to art and to find a path to express our feelings, our emotions connected to the history.
History is life, and art is, in my opinion, man's attempt to hold life in its hand for a split second. I think that history is right there. It's the history of the art, it's the history of the artist, and the history that is being told. The idea for Sound in the Silence is always to connect a narrative and tell a story and use that story as the means to create the art. It's a very intense project in a very intense location. And so that is made possible with us having fun and breathing a lot and listening with our ears and our eyes and our hearts and our gut and our soul. It's all very important here. We came here to work together. So we are from 4, if you include me, 5 different countries, talking about a very intense history that seems like 70 years ago, but we all know in our daily lives, the ideas that were born that made this possible are still alive in the world right now. And it is not our parents' or our grandparents' problem to fix. It is ours as a generation to come together and understand what is happening, why it is happening, and what we can do to flip it. And I believe in my heart that art and creativity and performance and expression is the only way to do it. Because the other option is we kill each other. And that, in my idea, is not a possibility. Definitely not in this group, right? But it's happening in the world. And so I want everyone to know the stakes are very, very high. Stakes are very high.
History is like a circle, so we have to remember that you can only learn from the past, and to not repeat it in the future is to know how was it earlier.
We are on the brink of becoming just as evil and wrong as what happened here. And so these young folks really have to understand their place in history and understand that they and even younger kids are the chance, are the chance to flip this narrative and tell the story in a completely different way.
So what you can see in front of us is the entrance to the first camp of the Auschwitz system that was created here by Nazi Germany in spring 1940, and it developed from one camp into the whole system of concentration camp and later also extermination center. The war that the Germany started wasn't only a territorial war, it was already ideological war. First of all, Germany wanted to destroy the Polishhood, but also eliminate people that might start resistance. So even people your age in this initial few months were being arrested, and within very few months, the prisons that the Nazi occupier also overtook were overcrowded or became overcrowded. First transport of prisoners arrives here June 14, 1940, Poles, 728 people from prison in Tarnów, and this date is considered to be the beginning of the story of Auschwitz.
Auschwitz. When I think about it, I feel nothing. Maybe that's strange or wrong, I don't know, but really, there's just nothing. I know it was a huge, really huge tragedy, but I guess I have to see it myself to feel anything.
When we entered the camp, you can see the entrance gate with a very infamous slogan, Arbeit macht frei, work makes one free. Many survivors from those first transports very often say that when they arrived here, they didn't really understand what kind of a place it was. When they saw the sign, they thought, well, we'll be working here and we'll be released from here if we work well. This is some kind of a slave labor camp. But after a few hours on the other side of the barbed wire, they could understand that this is something completely different.
It's very possible that I will suddenly just feel the big rock on my head or a strong hit. It may be like that, but it's also possible that nothing will change.
Husbands, wives, children, parents, friends, they were in one train car. When the train car opened, they were separated forever in a few minutes. We can see something which is one of the most important universal lesson of this place. You can see that the whole system of murder was brutally and rationally planned. And rationality, there's only one species on this planet that is rational, and this is human being. So these were not monsters, devils, aliens who came here and perpetrated the crime, but people who simply hated others to the extent in which they can rationalize building an industrial gas chamber like that. Educated people, doctors, architects, engineers, who were responsible for creating the whole program of mass murder of other people.
Nowadays we hear about tragedies every day. Not about these huge tragedies, about the smaller ones, but I think that makes us insensitive.
Behind me you can see the ruin of the gas chamber. 210 square meters, up to 2,000 people could be squashed there and killed at the time. People entered, the door was locked, and then SS disinfectors, so specially trained medical NCOs, were putting Cyclone B inside the chambers. We have these testimonies that they sometimes made jokes. They switched the light off and on in the gas chamber, and then people started screaming, and then a sigh of relief. And they did it a few times. So we have different stories here. And this is how people were killed. However, we are not able to tell the story of these people, because the whole story of the camp is told by those lucky people who survived, and we have no survivors from the inside of the gas chambers.
Auschwitz.
When I think about this,
I feel nothing.
It's a feeling that I cannot describe at all.
One part of me is interested.
Another part of me is scared.
When I hear this word, the first thing I think of is a black and white picture with people starving.
When I think about it, my heart beats faster. And faster. And faster.
And faster. Lost lives, crying and tears.
Bad smells nobody tells.
Empty rooms. Shoes.
Innocent children.
Gas chambers.
Cold. Dark.
Small. No space.
Tight.
Tragedy?
Yes.
Hope.
Maybe.
Repeat.
Never again.
I thought it is more interesting to visit these places, and now I feel more connected with the people they went there, so it changed, yeah.
I knew it happened, but I was not accepting this fact. And when I came to Auschwitz and I saw this whole bunch of things, the hair, the shoes, and photos, it came to me that it really happened.
I think we came here because the prisoners that tried to get out of Auschwitz.
They've escaped in the mountains to hide and to find a safe place.
We try to feel like them, like the prisoners who went from Auschwitz to the mountains to get away from it.
The leaders of this project wanted us to feel the same way.
We want to feel like them, so we kind of have the same journey as them.
The reason why we are here at this place in the mountains is because we're specifically following the path, the escape path of Wetzler and Verba, who made it out. These two men from Slovakia, completely different kinds of men, one a doctor, one a soldier, who found each other and escaped together. And so here we are in the mountains following their path. And so what does it feel like now that we're here in the mountains, in this place all together, and in a way we're following the same path, in a different way, but we are following in their footsteps. So how do you feel about that?
I'm just impressed at how strong they could be, because I always think of, I could never do that, never. I would die after the first mile of walking, and the cold and the rain, and you have to walk all day long and nothing to eat, and it should be so very hard, and I'm just impressed that they could really do it.
The animal idea, this is my first goal. Not to talk about the history, just simply like a memory or like a speech to the audience. So I'm trying to find something closer to me. Not Auschwitz in 1944, for example, but something close as animals. Because animals are very simple, they're using their instinct mostly than a brain. So it's really interesting for the theater, and to show something really complex in a simple way, in animal way. So this is it.
Resistance for me can be a person, can be an action, which is against the normal things, which can go against the flows of the water, for example.
To stand up for yourself and say what you think.
I have experienced resistance in my life, yes. There are, I think for everybody, there are so many moments in life where you do resistance, where you practice resistance. Even they are so small, or when your mom say, yeah, clean up the dish, and you don't, it's like resistance, or yeah.
When you don't like something and your parents say, well, you have to think that way, and you say, no, I don't want to think that way, that is for me resistance.
Without resistance, our life would be a little bit boring. So if we would just do everything how they say to us, how they want us to do it, it wouldn't be that, exciting, yes.
I'd considered resistance only being, big and broad and throwing, Molotov cocktails at each other and shooting and rioting and pushing. And also the resistance that I know in my daily life is my children. They're resistant to everything that I do. So it's like, how do you really balance out these two ideas? But resistance can be small. It can be these teenagers not being quiet when I want them to be quiet because they're being rude to somebody else. So I think my concept of resistance has really shifted in the week that I've been here, from this large battle to, there's small steps along the way that you can take to resist something.
So I'm leading the dance workshop, and what I'm interested in, it's like working inside out, outside in. So working from the feeling and emotion to the movement, and then coming from the movement and going to the emotion, so that it's connected, the inner world and the outside.
My family is very musical, so I tried to play piano and I was not good at it. Then I started to dance, and I think that's my favorite kind of thing. I don't know.
I also improvise. I try to push the participants to improvise, and also improvise by myself, to find something new, not artificially prepared in my room and in front of the laptop, but with a dialogue with my actors.
It's a writing workshop, creative writing. We take questions and ideas from the different locations and the different narratives and characters that we've found along the way. And I try to use questions inspired by these ideas and themes to get at the students' feelings.
There were several things, therefore I choose this workshop. I think Dana is really inspiring, and I really liked him, and I also do like to write myself things at home. And the other side of it, that I like to act, so I'm learning to be an actor, and that's why I chose this. This is a very particular workshop. It's not like the other ones, it's a special one, especially for me. I write about everything. I write my thoughts, my feelings, my emotions, how I feel in that way, so.
I have 6 people in my workshop, and they really want to sing, and they're really creative young people. Although today both of them are sick, so I hope that on the final performance we will be ready and in good health.
The one thing can lead you is really teamwork.
set design is also about teamwork. The director has his or her own ideas. The dramaturg, the play itself, has its own things that you have to put on stage. And as a set designer, you have to find the connections, visualize them, put them together, make them frank, make them honest, make them work, and then put them on the stage. And that's all about it.
Just remember, there is no wrong when you go out there. I believe performance is transformational. I believe art is transformational. You don't have to, but I do. And now is the time to share it, okay? So we did this the first day. We haven't done it since. But I want everyone to take their hands and put it into the center. Okay? And I want you to feel that energy and the power of the connectedness here, okay? Down and up! Have really a great time, you guys. All performers need to go backstage and be quiet. Much more interesting to learn about history through the concept of a piece of art that I'm working on than it would just be to learn facts and numbers and family trees. That's not that interesting. But like when you get at why a person is doing what they're doing and what they're trying to achieve, yeah, that's when history and art become the same thing for me.
My idea was also to introduce everybody to imagine how these prisoners could survive on that horrible time with what they love, because I guess that most of people love music.
I love working with music, and I wanted to express myself by singing and playing. I think that music has the most powerful expression of our feelings.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us, only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. There's no country. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion Imagine all the people living lives in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer. I'm the only one. Someday you'll join us.
The whole week was very new and different from what I experienced before. For me, it was very powerful when I saw how the prisoners lived in Auschwitz. I also knew it before, but really being there and seeing how they just slept on the ground in small places, and it was dirty and full of cockroaches, and and it was like, oh my God, I couldn't survive it. I'm just impressed that there are people out in the world who could do this. If I would know them, I would be proud of them.